The interstellar relief station Orcs 9 floated quietly at the edge of a broken system. From far away, it looked calm, like a silver ring resting in darkness. But inside, it was always loud. Different species walked the long halls. Some had soft skin, some had scales, some moved on more than two legs. Voices mixed with machine sounds. Lights flashed in many colors to suit many kinds of eyes. Humans were still new here. Lieutenant Aaron Hale walked through the central supply corridor with a small metal case strapped to his side. He moved in a relaxed way, but his eyes were always alert. He had learned that on Orcs 9, calm did not mean safe. He was part of the Human Relief Unit, sent to help after a long border war between alien empires. Humans were not the strongest species here and not the most advanced, but they were good at surviving chaos. Inside his case were tools, medical packs, and one simple human ration. A dense survival food wrapped in dark film. Human soldiers jokingly called it a sausage because of its shape and smell. It was not pretty, but it could keep a human alive for days. Aaron did not think much about it. To him, it was just food. As he turned a corner, the station lights suddenly flickered. A low alarm sound echoed through the corridor. Not a full emergency, but enough to make everyone stop. Power fluctuation, a calm station voice announced. Maintenance teams report. Panels on the walls dimmed. Gravity shifted slightly, just enough to make walking uncomfortable. Aaron steadied himself and looked around. A few aliens crouched or held onto rails. One of them stumbled. She was tall and slender, with pale blue skin that shimmered softly under the lights. Her eyes were large and dark, and thin glowing lines ran along her arms. She wore the markings of a station engineer. Aaron reacted without thinking. He stepped forward and grabbed her arm to keep her from falling. "Easy," he said. "I've got you." The alien stiffened. Her breath caught sharply. She did not pull away, but her body trembled. The lights stabilized after a moment. Gravity returned to normal. The alarm stopped. Aaron released her arm gently. "You okay?" She stared at him, then down at his side. Her eyes widened. During the stumble, her hand had brushed against the metal case at his hip. More than that, her fingers had pressed against the shape inside the flexible pouch, the human ration. Her skin changed color slightly, shifting toward a deeper blue. I touched it," she whispered in her own language. Aaron did not understand her words, but he understood panic. "Hey, it's fine. You didn't fall, that's what matters." She took a step back, her hands shaking. Other aliens nearby began to notice her distress. A few of them turned their heads toward Aaron. The engineer swallowed hard. "I did not mean to," she said again, her voice shaking. Aaron raised his hands a little, trying to look harmless. It was an accident, really. To her, his calm made it worse. Her name was Lureth, and she was from a species that believed survival objects were deeply personal. Among her people, the item that kept you alive in crisis was linked to your honor and future. Touching another being's survival core without permission was a serious act. It could mean a claim of responsibility, or worse, a binding promise. She felt her heart race. This human had allowed her to touch his life-sustaining object, and he did not even react. Around them, whispers spread. Some aliens recognized the human gear. Others only saw the engineer's fear. Aaron noticed the attention. "Is there a problem?" he asked the nearest translator drone. The drone hovered closer. "Emotional distress detected. Cause unclear." Lureth struggled to speak. He carries it openly," she said. "And I touched it." The drone paused longer this time. "Clarification required." "What is it?" She gestured weakly at Aaron's side. Aaron finally looked down. He realized what she meant and almost laughed, but stopped when he saw her expression. "Oh. This," he tapped the pouch lightly, "it's just food." The drone repeated the translation. Lureth froze. "Food," she echoed. "Yes," Aaron said simply. "Emergency ration. Keeps me alive if things go bad." The color drained slightly from her skin. Around them, several aliens stiffened in shock. You carry your survival item exposed, one of them asked through another drone. Aaron shrugged. Sure, makes it easier to reach. Silence spread through the corridor. To the alien species present, this was unbelievable. Survival cores were protected, hidden, sometimes sealed into armor. To expose one openly was seen as reckless or a sign of supreme confidence. Lureth felt dizzy. And you allow others near it? Aaron frowned, sensing the misunderstanding. I mean, yeah, it's just food. She looked at him as if he had said he breathed vacuum for fun. The station supervisor, a tall, armored being, approached. Human lieutenant, it said carefully, there has been a cultural incident. Aaron sighed inwardly. He had been warned about this. Of course there has. Lureth lowered her head. I accept responsibility, she said softly. I did not intend to bind, Aaron repeated. The supervisor raised a hand. Perhaps this discussion should move somewhere private. They were guided to a quiet side room. The door sealed, blocking out the noise of the station. Lureth stood stiffly, her hands clasped together. She expected judgment. Exile, perhaps, or forced obligation. Aaron sat on a bench and finally unstrapped the metal case. He placed it on the table between them. Okay, he said calmly, let's clear this up. He opened the pouch and pulled out the ration. It was plain, dark, and slightly misshapen. This, he said, is called a human emergency ration. Soldiers carry it in case we're trapped or cut off. It's not personal, it's practical. Lureth stared at it. Her eyes traced its surface, confused. You do not name it, she asked. No. You do not bond with it. No, you would give it away. Aaron thought for a moment, then nodded. If someone needed it more than me, yes. The supervisor made a low sound of disbelief. Lureth felt something shift inside her, fear slowly mixed with something else, curiosity. Then my touch meant nothing, she asked quietly. Aaron smiled gently. It meant you almost fell and I helped, that's it. Her shoulders relaxed for the first time. But, he added, reaching into the pouch again, if you're hungry, I can share it. Her eyes widened again, but this time for a different reason. Sharing survival food so easily went against everything she had been taught. The supervisor watched closely. This human was dangerous in a way they did not yet understand, not through aggression, but through casual trust. Outside the room, Orcs 9 continued to hum. None of them knew yet that this small misunderstanding would soon spread across the station, and later, across the galaxy. But for now, it began with a simple moment. A human, an alien, and a piece of food that meant very different things to each of them. The misunderstanding did not end in the quiet room. It grew. By the next cycle, whispers moved faster than station messages. Aliens spoke softly in corners. Some stopped when humans passed. Others stared openly at the small metal cases humans carried on their belts or backs. The word sausage spread, translated badly through many languages, gaining strange meanings along the way. To some species, it meant life core. Humans were used to being watched, but this felt different. The looks were not hostile. They were uncertain, respect mixed with fear. Behind him walked Lureth. She had insisted on accompanying him. It is safer this way, she had said earlier, though she did not fully understand why she felt responsible for him now. Aaron glanced back. You don't have to follow me everywhere. I know, she replied, but I will. He accepted it with a small nod. Humans often accepted strange behavior without pushing too hard. They entered a common exchange hall where food, tools, and information were traded between species. The moment Aaron stepped inside, the noise dipped slightly. Several aliens turned toward him. One of them, a tall, insect-like trader, stepped forward. Human, it said through a translator. Is it true you allow others to touch your survival object? Aaron blinked. My food? Yes, he sighed. This again. Lureth stiffened beside him. She sensed the tension building. It's not a big deal, Aaron continued. I carry extra sometimes. Humans plan for bad days. The trader's antennae twitched rapidly. You plan to lose it. We plan to share it, Aaron corrected. That answer caused more murmurs. From the shadows, a security officer watched closely. Orcs 9 had survived wars and plagues, but cultural panic was just as dangerous. When beliefs collided, violence often followed. Later that day, a formal notice was sent. All humans were requested, politely but firmly, to attend a cultural clarification meeting. Aaron arrived with 3 other humans. Engineers, medics, and officers stood beside representatives of 6 alien species. Translator drones hovered everywhere. The station supervisor began. There has been concern regarding human survival practices. Aaron crossed his arms. Concern is one word for it. An elder from a crystalline species spoke next. Your kind carries survival openly and treats it as trivial. This unsettles many. A human medic raised her hand. We don't treat survival as trivial, we treat it as shared responsibility. The room quieted. Lureth watched from the side. Her thoughts were heavy. Among her people, survival was private. Failure was shameful. Depending on others was weakness. Humans were different. Aaron was asked to demonstrate. He placed his metal case on the table and opened it again. This time, several alien cameras focused on the ration. This is not sacred, he said clearly. It is food, engineered for efficiency. No ritual, no bond. An alien delegate leaned forward. Then why do humans survive so often when others fail? Aaron paused. He did not expect that question. Because, he said slowly, we don't rely on one thing or one person. We rely on systems, teams, preparation. And when those fail, we improvise. The word improvised caused confusion. Lureth felt something inside her settle. For the first time, she understood that touching his ration had not bound her to him, but it had opened her eyes. The meeting ended without conflict, but not without impact. Official notices were posted. Humans were advised but not ordered to store rations discreetly to avoid future incidents. Most humans ignored it. That cycle, a storm of charged particles struck the station. It was rare and violent. External sensors failed. Power systems overloaded. Emergency lights flared red. This time, alarms did not stop. Structural breach in lower sectors. She worked fast, hands moving with trained precision, but the alien-designed stabilizers were not meant for this kind of damage. Humans reacted differently. Aaron and his team moved immediately. They sealed doors manually, shared oxygen masks, pulled out rations without hesitation. In one dark corridor, a group of aliens huddled, breathing fast. Their supply crates were locked behind a jammed door. Aaron knelt and opened his pouch. This will help, he said, breaking the ration into pieces and handing them out. An alien child hesitated. You will starve, Aaron smiled. Not today. Lureth watched from behind, heart pounding. This was what shocked her most, not the ration itself, but the lack of fear. As hours passed, the station held together by effort and will. Humans crawled through broken vents. Aliens followed their lead. Finally, power stabilized. Oxygen returned. The storm passed. The aftermath was quiet and heavy. In the central hall, representatives gathered again, this time with tired faces and changed eyes. The supervisor spoke. Human practices saved lives today. A low hum of agreement followed. Lureth stepped forward unexpectedly. I wish to speak. All eyes turned to her. I once believed survival must be guarded, she said, that it defined us alone. But humans treat survival as something to be shared. That is why they endure. She turned toward Aaron. I am grateful. Aaron nodded, uncomfortable with praise. Just doing the job. But the galaxy was already changing its view. The story of the human ration, once feared, once misunderstood, was now being recorded. Not as a scandal, but as a lesson. And this was only the beginning. The station did not return to normal after the storm. It changed. The halls of Orcs 9 were quieter now, not because of damage, but because people were thinking. Aliens who once avoided humans now watched them closely. Some followed them. Some copied small habits without realizing it, keeping tools closer, sharing supplies, checking on strangers. Lieutenant Aaron Hale noticed it slowly. He saw an alien medic helping a wounded stranger instead of waiting for permission. He saw engineers from different species working side by side without arguing over method or rank. None of this had been common before. Humans did not announce leadership. They simply acted. Lureth walked beside Aaron again as they moved through a repaired sector. Her posture was more relaxed than before, but her thoughts were heavy. "Your people confuse the station," she said quietly. Aaron smiled slightly. "We hear that a lot." "No," she said, more serious. "You change things without meaning to." They stopped near a large viewport. Outside, stars drifted slowly, calm and cold. Lureth folded her hands. "Among my people, the storm would have ended trust. Accusations would follow. But here it strengthened cooperation." Aaron leaned against the wall. "When things break, blaming doesn't fix them. Fixing them does." She looked at him, studying his face. Humans showed emotion differently. Less color change, less ritual, more expression through action. Before she could reply, a sharp alert echoed through the station. "Unknown vessel detected. No response to communication." Security teams moved fast. This was different from a storm. This was a threat. The vessel appeared on the main display soon after. Dark, angular, with no known markings. It drifted closer without adjusting speed. The station's supervisor called an emergency council. Aaron stood among alien leaders again, but this time their eyes turned to him first. "We do not know this vessel," the supervisor said. "Its energy signature is unstable." A reptilian commander hissed. "If it explodes near us, the station will not survive." Lureth felt fear rise in her chest. Unknown vessels often meant raiders or worse, species that stripped stations for parts and survivors alike. Aaron studied the data silently. Humans had faced unknowns before, often. "How long until it reaches minimum safe distance?" he asked. 30 minutes, an analyst replied. "Do we have evacuation capability?" Aaron continued. The room fell silent. "No," the supervisor admitted. "Not at full capacity," Aaron nodded once. "Then we prepare to survive impact or boarding." Several aliens shifted uncomfortably. "You assume the worst," one said. "I assume reality," Aaron replied calmly. Humans began moving immediately. They sealed compartments, distributed supplies, shared instructions without waiting for approval. Lureth watched it happen and felt something click into place. Humans did not wait for certainty. They prepared anyway. The unknown vessel did not respond to warnings. Instead, it released smaller objects, pods that moved toward the station. "Boarding craft," security confirmed. Fear spread fast. Some aliens panicked. Others froze. Aaron activated his comm. "Human teams, defensive posture, non-lethal where possible, protect civilians first." He turned to the supervisor. "We'll slow them down." "You cannot fight an unknown force," the supervisor said. Aaron met its gaze. "We're not fighting, we're buying time." The first pod breached an outer airlock. Strange figures emerged, thin, wrapped in reflective armor, moving in sharp, jerky motions. They did not speak. They scanned. Then they advanced. Humans formed barriers using debris and portable shields. Aliens watched, unsure whether to help or hide. Lureth found herself next to a human medic, handing over supplies without being asked. Her hands moved on instinct now. The intruders reached a civilian sector. A group of aliens was trapped behind a sealed door. Aaron arrived seconds later. He saw the fear in their eyes through the transparent barrier. Without hesitation, he stepped forward, drawing the attention of the intruders. They raised weapons. He did not. Instead, he moved fast, using the environment. A kick to a joint, a shove into a wall. A disarming strike. Humans did not fight with elegance, they fought with purpose. The intruders retreated, regrouping. The station shook as another pod struck. Casualties rose, supplies ran low, and once again human rations appeared. Aaron tore open another pack and handed it to an alien guard whose energy levels were dropping. "You need strength," he said, "but I'll manage." Lureth felt a strange pain in her chest as she watched this happen again and again. This was not ignorance. This was choice. Finally, the truth emerged. The unknown vessel was not an enemy warship. It was a broken exploration craft, its crew driven unstable by radiation exposure. They boarded the station not to conquer, but to survive. When communication was finally established, the message was fragmented and desperate. "We are dying, need resources." The council faced a terrible choice. The intruders had caused harm, but they were not monsters. Silence filled the chamber. Then Aaron spoke. "They're like us," he said, "stranded, desperate, afraid." An alien elder snapped, "They attacked us." "So would anyone who thought survival was something to steal instead of share," Aaron replied. Lureth stepped forward. "My people would destroy them," she said softly. "But humans taught me something." All eyes turned to her. "Survival shared multiplies," she continued. "Survival guarded collapses." The decision was made. Humans led the containment, treatment, and negotiation effort. The intruders were disarmed, fed, stabilized. Some aliens protested, but none could deny the results. When the crisis ended, Orcs 9 still stood. More than that, it had changed. Later, Lureth found Aaron near the viewport again. "You risked everything," she said. He shrugged. "We lived." She looked at the stars. "Your survival object, it was never the food." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "It is your thinking," she said. "That survival is not owned." He smiled then, quiet and tired. And far away, across the networks of the galaxy, reports spread. Humans were not dangerous because they fought. They were dangerous because they refused to let anyone face the dark alone. The calm after the boarding incident was deceptive. Orcs 9 had survived, but the station's systems were strained. Some sections had damage that would take cycles to repair. Food supplies were low, oxygen backups had been used, and every alien species on the station now viewed humans differently. Some with suspicion, others with awe. Lieutenant Aaron Hale walked through the corridors with Lureth close behind. Her pale blue skin glimmered faintly under the repaired lights, but her expression was serious. She had witnessed humans in action during the boarding, and it had left a mark on her mind. "You seem calm," she said softly, "even though so many systems are failing." Aaron glanced at her. "Calm doesn't mean careless. It means focusing on what I can do, not panicking about what I cannot." Lureth nodded, but she was thinking of the ration, the so-called human sausage. She realized now that humans treated survival differently. They didn't guard it obsessively, they didn't see it as personal property, and they willingly shared it with others. To her species, that was extraordinary. Aaron stopped at a storage bay where damaged crates and food packs had been gathered. "We need to organize supplies," he said. "Every alien here depends on what we have left. We can't let fear waste it." Lureth looked around. Some aliens were already arguing about distribution, claiming priority based on species rank. Aaron shook his head. "Ignore rank. Focus on need. Humans don't care who gets it first, only that it goes where it's most useful." For the next several hours, humans led the effort. They moved methodically, dividing oxygen masks, emergency rations, and medical kits among all species. Lureth followed their instructions, finding herself amazed at how quickly and efficiently humans acted under pressure. Then the worst happened. A secondary power surge struck the station. Emergency lights flickered red again. Systems groaned. Gravity shifted slightly. Aliens screamed, clutched at walls, and some fell. Aaron's reaction was immediate. "Hold on," he shouted, grabbing two frightened aliens and steadying them. Lureth moved instinctively to help, but Aaron stopped her with a hand. "You stay focused here. I've got the next sector." He raced toward the central supply corridor where the food stores were kept. Crates had toppled. Oxygen canisters had rolled into dangerous positions near the vents. Aaron began moving them into safe zones, carefully checking each one before placing it. When he reached the human rations, he opened the case and began handing pieces to aliens struggling to breathe or losing strength. Lureth followed him this time, giving out portions to those he couldn't reach. "Eat. Now," Aaron urged. "No waiting for permission." The aliens hesitated at first. Sharing survival items without ceremony was unheard of, but they were weak, and Aaron's calm authority gave them courage. Slowly, they began taking the rations, chewing in silence, gaining energy. One alien child looked at Aaron nervously. You do not keep any for yourself," Aaron smiled tiredly. "I have plenty. Others need it more than I do." The child blinked, clearly confused. It went against everything that species had ever taught, that survival was personal, private, sacred. Yet here was a human offering it freely. Hours passed. The secondary surge stabilized and the station systems began to recover. The emergency crews, guided by humans, worked without complaint. Lureth watched everything carefully, learning. She had thought she understood humans, but seeing them act this way, fearless, selfless, and practical, was enlightening. Finally, after the last of the rations had been distributed and the last alien had been stabilized, Aaron sat on a crate, exhausted. Lureth joined him. She looked around the corridor at the aliens resting, eating, and quietly helping each other. "You saved them," she said quietly. "All of them." Aaron shrugged. "We survived together, that's all it is." She shook her head. "It's more than that. I have seen my people fight over food, over air, over survival itself. Humans survive and help others survive. That is something new, something extraordinary." Aaron looked at her, tired but steady. "We learned that a long time ago. Survival is meaningless if you don't bring others with you." She studied his face for a long moment. "Then, the touch, the accident with your ration, it meant nothing, yet it meant everything to me." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "How so?" "It showed me that humans do not cling. They do not fear. They do not bind survival to shame or ritual. They share it freely. And that is why you endure." He nodded slowly, understanding her words in his own way. Outside, the station hummed softly. The crisis had tested every species on board. But humans had proven something critical. Survival depended not only on strength or technology, but on willingness to act, to share, and to face danger without hesitation. Later, representatives of the Alien Council arrived to assess the station. Their eyes were cautious at first, but as they observed, they realized that the humans' actions had saved hundreds of lives. Where aliens might have waited for permission or procedure, humans had acted immediately, distributing resources, stabilizing systems, and preventing panic. The council convened formally in the main hall. Aaron and his team were present, as were key aliens from every species on Orcs 9. The room was tense as council members discussed human behavior. One elder, a crystalline being, spoke first. "Your species' conduct defies our understanding. You risked yourselves without formal authorization. You shared your rations freely, even with those who do not follow your rules." "Why?" Aaron answered simply. "Because someone needed it. Rules don't help someone who's starving or suffocating. We do what works and we do it together." Lureth stepped forward. "I can speak to that," she said. "I saw it with my own eyes. Humans do not guard survival for themselves, they share it. That is why so many live today. That is why Orcs 9 survives." A murmur of agreement spread through the council. Some species were reluctant to admit it, but they could not deny the results. The elder nodded slowly. "Then it seems we have much to learn from humans." Aaron waved his hand casually. "We're just doing our part." But the message was clear. The galaxy had begun to see humans differently. Not as reckless, not as weak, but as a species capable of endurance, generosity, and practical courage. As the meeting ended, Lureth walked with Aaron toward the viewport. She stared at the stars again, thinking of the storm, the boarding, and the ration, the small object that had caused so much confusion. "You were right," she said quietly. "It wasn't the food. It was your thinking, your action, your choice. Aaron smiled faintly. Sometimes the smallest things reveal the biggest truths. She nodded, understanding now why humans survived when so many other species faltered. The human way was simple, yet powerful: prepare, act, share, and endure. In the following cycles, Orcs 9 became more stable. Humans continued their work, quietly demonstrating their principles. They helped aliens organize supplies, repair systems, and stabilize the station's structure. They did not demand credit, but their influence was clear. Lureth began teaching what she had learned from Aaron to other engineers. She explained that survival was a shared responsibility. That cooperation, not fear, was key. And slowly, the station changed. Aliens began to distribute resources more evenly. Emergency drills became realistic rather than ceremonial. Panic during malfunctions decreased significantly. The human rations, the sausage, became symbolic. Not for ritual, not for fear, but as a reminder. Survival is best shared, and action without hesitation can save lives. Lureth often found herself standing beside Aaron near the viewport, reflecting on how a single accidental touch had started this change. From fear and misunderstanding had come respect and learning. From panic had come cooperation. And from one human officer's calm and selfless action, a station full of aliens had discovered a new path to endurance. The galaxy outside Orcs 9 was vast and uncertain. But for now, within the walls of the station, humans had shown that even the smallest acts of sharing and courage could ripple outward, reshaping the way others thought, acted, and survived. Aaron leaned back against the rail, exhausted but satisfied. Lureth looked at him with a newfound admiration. "You are not like any human I imagined," she said. He shrugged. "Most aren't. Some are better, some worse. I just do what needs to be done." And for the first time, Lureth truly understood. That simple mindset, combined with action and courage, was why humans endured when others faltered. The storm, the boarding, the rations, it had all been a test, and humans had passed. But as the stars drifted silently outside, she knew this was only the beginning of the lessons the galaxy would learn from humans. And that knowledge was powerful. The days after the crisis passed slowly, but they were far from quiet. Orcs 9 hummed with repair work, new routines, and cautious conversations. The station had survived, and the presence of humans had left an undeniable mark. Every species on the station now looked at them differently, some with curiosity, others with respect, and a few with quiet envy. Lieutenant Aaron Hale moved through the corridors as usual, carrying another small case of supplies. Lureth followed, her movements no longer hesitant. She had learned from the humans, and her confidence had grown. Watching Aaron and the other human team members had taught her something vital. Courage and practicality were more powerful than ritual and fear. They reached the central hall where representatives of all species had gathered for a council debrief. Some were still shaken from the storm and boarding incident, while others were curious about how humans had handled the crisis. Many whispers passed among the crowd: how humans risked themselves, how they shared their rations, how they acted without hesitation. Aaron stepped forward as the council convened. The station supervisor gestured for him to speak. "Lieutenant Hale, the council wishes to understand your methods," the supervisor said. "Your actions saved hundreds of lives, and some of our species do not yet comprehend how it was accomplished." Aaron took a deep breath. "It's simple," he said. "We plan, we act, and we share. Survival isn't about hiding what you have. It's about using it wisely and helping those who need it. Fear slows you down. Hesitation kills. That's all there is to it." The room fell silent. The alien representatives exchanged glances, some nodding slowly, others frowning thoughtfully. Lureth stepped beside Aaron and added her voice. "I have seen it with my own eyes. Humans do not guard survival, they share it freely. That is why they endure. That is why Orcs 9 survived when others would have fallen. A crystalline elder spoke up, its translucent voice trembling slightly. Then it seems humans teach more through action than words. They show, not lecture. Aaron nodded. We act because it's necessary. Teaching comes after if anyone is watching. The council murmured again. The alien species present were beginning to grasp something important. Humans were not reckless. They were practical, brave, and selfless in ways that were unfamiliar to most species. Their calm and deliberate actions under extreme pressure were remarkable. After the council adjourned, Aaron and Lureth walked through the station toward the viewport. Outside, stars drifted in silent patterns, untouched by the chaos that had recently occurred. The station hummed beneath them, alive and repaired, stronger than before. "You've changed this station," Lureth said quietly, her voice full of awe. "Not with orders, not with threats, but by example. Humans survive differently, and now so do we." Aaron shrugged modestly. "We just do what needs to be done. Survival is pointless if you can't bring others with you." She studied him, her admiration clear. "Then the touch, the accidental contact with your ration, it was more than an accident. It started this change." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "You're saying a misunderstanding changed the station?" "Yes," she said. "It made me see humans differently. It made me see the power of action without fear. And it made others watch and learn, all because you were willing to share." Aaron smiled faintly. "Sometimes the smallest things have the biggest impact." In the following cycles, Orcs 9 became more organized and resilient. The alien engineers adapted human techniques for distributing supplies and repairing damaged systems. Emergency drills became realistic and efficient. Panic during malfunctions decreased. Species that once competed over resources began to cooperate. Humans did not impose these changes. They simply continued to act and help, and others learned by following their example. Lureth often found herself beside Aaron near the viewport, reflecting on the lessons learned. The ration, which had once caused panic and confusion, had become a symbol, not of fear, but of shared survival. It reminded everyone that life was better when resources and effort were shared, and that courage and quick action could save lives in ways rules and rituals could not. One quiet cycle, the station received news of a distant outpost under threat from a rogue asteroid field. Communications were limited and the outpost was low on supplies. Lureth looked at Aaron, her eyes shining. "They need help just like us. Will you go?" Aaron considered it briefly, then nodded. "Of course, we prepare, we act, we share." Lureth smiled. "Then I will go with you. I have learned from you. I want to see it in action again." As preparations began, the aliens on the station watched in silence. Humans, once new and misunderstood, were now leading an interspecies effort that extended beyond Orcs 9. They were teaching by example, showing that survival was not a solitary endeavor. Aaron packed supplies, carefully checking rations, oxygen, and medical kits. Lureth assisted, now moving with confidence and precision. Humans taught aliens simple but effective methods to secure supplies, stabilize systems, and respond quickly to emergencies. Each action reinforced the lesson. Cooperation and courage saved lives. When the transport ship launched, carrying humans and a team of aliens to the threatened outpost, the station held its breath. For the first time, many species truly understood the impact of human resilience and leadership. They had witnessed survival not as a guarded secret, but as a shared responsibility. During the journey, Lureth observed Aaron as he worked tirelessly to organize the team, distribute rations, and maintain calm. She realized that humans carried more than just supplies. They carried a mindset that inspired trust, courage, and action in others. At the outpost, they arrived to find chaos. Equipment was damaged, habitats were unstable, and survivors were frightened. But humans immediately assessed the situation, organized resources, and assigned tasks. They shared rations freely, stabilized damaged systems, and coordinated repairs. Aliens who had once doubted humans now followed their lead, learning the value of calm action and shared effort. The outpost was saved, not because humans were the strongest or the most technologically advanced, but because they acted quickly, shared their knowledge and resources, and led by example. The alien survivors looked on in awe, finally understanding why humans endured and thrived in situations where others might fail. Back on Orcs 9, reports of the successful mission spread. The story of the human ration, the sausage, and the lessons learned from the station crisis became legendary. It was taught in training academies, not as a tale of misunderstanding, but as an example of practical courage, selfless action, and the power of sharing survival. Lureth often reflected on that first accidental touch. What had seemed trivial at the time had sparked a chain of events that changed perspectives, saved lives, and inspired a new way of thinking across multiple species. Aaron and Lureth stood together one final time at the viewport before departing on another mission. Stars glittered silently, endless and cold, yet full of possibility. "You have shown me something important," Lureth said softly. "Humans survive because they act, because they share, and because they trust life itself." Aaron nodded. "And they endure because they do it together. That's all we ever do." She looked at him, gratitude and respect in her eyes. "Then wherever humans go, they leave more than survival. They leave understanding, hope, courage." Aaron smiled faintly, exhausted but steady. "Then let's keep moving. There's more work to do." As the transport ship departed, carrying humans and allies to new challenges, the galaxy began to notice. The legend of Orcs 9, of the human ration, and of a small misunderstanding that sparked great change spread. Across star systems, beings spoke of humans not just as survivors, but as teachers, leaders, and symbols of courage and cooperation. And somewhere deep inside, Lureth realized the truth. The accidental touch had not been the start. The start had been humans themselves, their thinking, their choices, and their unshakable belief that survival is best when shared. The story ended not with a battle won or a crisis resolved, but with a lesson carried forward. Humans would continue to act, to help, to inspire, and the galaxy would continue to watch and learn. Even the smallest actions, like sharing a simple ration, could ripple across the stars. Aaron looked out at the stars, case of supplies at his side, Lureth beside him, and he felt the quiet weight of responsibility. He knew more challenges were ahead, more crises, more unknowns, but he also knew one thing: wherever humans went, survival would not be lonely. It would be shared, and wherever it was shared, hope would follow, the galaxy would remember, and humans would endure.